Welcome to Math Mini Lessons. My name is Sarah, and in this video, we're going to look at the constructed response questions for the state test. You're going to find this link in the description, and you can follow along with us and practice with me. Hit your subject, which is going to be math, and then you're going to choose your grade level. You're going to see 3rd all the way to 8th. We're going to pick 4th, and hit Equation Editor Sampler. Now hit Start Test. You're going to hit Continue, X out of this, and Start Test. And now you have the same boxes I use in this video. So join us in the math. Let's look at our first 1-point question, and the only answer you would have to copy in is either 2 1/2, 2 2/4, or 1 6/4. So how do I get that answer? First of all, let's look. It says I'm going to combine 1 3/4 and 3/4. That means I know I'm going to add. If I'm adding them, I'm combining them, I'm adding. And what they're looking for is, do you know how to add fractions with like denominators? So I get 6/4 because my pieces are 4, so that doesn't change. I get 1 6/4, which is one of the possible answers. Now, you can look at this and say, this is an improper fraction. We need to change that. And for those of you who know how to do that, how many 4s go into 6s? We know that 6/4 I can get 1, and I would still have 2/4 left over, which is the way I can get my second answer, because I can add this 1 plus 1 2/4, and you can get 2 2/4, and that's the second answer you can get. Or you can simplify the 2 2/4 to 2 1/2, which will be your third answer. Now, for any of these, when you get to your equation editor, you're not showing any work. There's going to be one box, only one, that says answer. So I would pick the symbol, this one here, that has a mixed number, and that's where you can put in any of your answers. You can either put in your 1, you have to tap in there. Oops. You have to make sure you tap inside the box, 1 and 6, 4. Then you have to tap outside, or your answer could have been, I'll tap it again just so you can see it, 2, and you have to tap again, 2/4. Or you could have put the answer, oops, I don't want that little dot there, 2 and 1/2. Any of those answers can work. I put all 3 in there, but the process is still the same. All right, hit pause so you can jot this down and practice typing in that mixed number into your equation editor. Let's look at another 1-point problem. They're asking, what is this number rounded to the nearest thousand? So I'm going to write it, and that comma is important. That's going to help me say its name. So I have 88,678. That's the number, and I want to round to the nearest thousands, which is this place. This is the digit that's in the thousands place. There's an 8. So I have to look at the number right behind it. So look at this number, and you have to ask yourself, do I round up or down? How do you decide if you round it up to 89,000 or do you go down to 88,000? So here's you can go, if it's 0 to 4, round down to the floor. If it's more than 5, round up to the sky. So that's the way I always remember the nice little part. Because I have a 6, that means I'm going to round up, and this goes up to 89,000. All right, and that's the only thing you're going to have to write in there, 89,000. That's it. So, or you can write it as a full sentence. What is the number 88,678 rounded to the nearest thousands? So you can write 88,678 rounded to the nearest thousand is 89,000. And you can even do it because the digit in the hundreds place is a 6. so I rounded up. That's just a full sentence that I can use to show I know the answer, but really you just need to put 89,000. So before I stop and let you actually pause it here, how do you know if you're rounding up or down? Just think about this number, and you just have to put, if my 8 goes up, it goes up to 89,000, or if it goes down, it goes down to 88,000. There are some kids who make a mistake and they make the 8 go down to a 7, but that's not. This number is definitely between 88,000 and 89,000. All right, hit pause so you can jot this down and practice typing a full answer just like I did. All I did was restate the question, answer it, and say why. How many 1-degree angles are in a complete circle? Ooh, okay, so you might already just know 360 degrees in the circle, or you might have to draw it. So I'm going to start from here at 0. From here to here is 90, plus another 90 because I'm drawing right angles. This was 180, plus another 90, that's 270, plus another 90 is 360 degrees when I get back over here. So that's the only thing you would have to write down, is either just 360 angle, 1-degree angles, or I can restate the question, how many 1-degree angles are in a complete circle? 360 1-degree angles are in a complete circle. And that's it. And again, this is a 1-point question, which means I'm not going to have a show your work box. I'm only going to have an actual box like this to answer. So you can try to just jot this down. You could, I do want to show you one little feature, this little box where you can draw. If you wanted to, you can use this to actually draw. And I'm drawing using just my finger to just show the degrees. So you could do that if you wanted to, but they're going to look for the answer 360 1-degree angles. And see, I can add that in there if I needed to, but this is a 1-point question. So we're gonna hit pause so you can try this one out. You can correct your work, or you can practice drawing with that little box with the pencil inside. All right, let's look at question 39. Which quadrilaterals shown below appear to be rectangles? Be sure to include what you know about angles and sides. So how do I know? I know these are the parallelogram family, or actually these are all quadrilaterals. So I'm just showing my thinking so you know what I'm doing. And with quadrilaterals, I can have parallelograms, which have 2 sets of parallel lines. And if my parallelograms have 2 sets of parallel lines and they have 4 right angles, I'm going to get a rectangle. So this isn't the entire part, but I want you to be able to see this is my thinking when I think about quadrilaterals. They're all quadrilaterals, but now I'm looking for which ones are parallelograms, meaning I have 2 sides that will never touch, like in B, those 2 sides will touch, and these 2 lines will also not touch. So B is a parallelogram, but it can't be a rectangle because it doesn't have right angles. So B, I'm gonna cross it out. Same thing with A, it is a parallelogram, but it does not have right angles. So I'm gonna cross that out. Now C has both the things I'm looking for. It has 2 sets of parallel lines, that's 1 and 2, and it has 4 right angles. So this one is a rectangle. Even though it looks a square, it also counts as a rectangle. Now, for the next one, it has 1 pair of parallel lines. These 2 lines are not parallel because eventually they touch. That's a no-no. So definitely not a parallelogram, not a rectangle, excuse me. And for this last one, do I have 2 sets of parallel lines? 1 and 2. And these are 4 right angles. So this one is also a rectangle. Now, I'm also going to tell you that a lot of people say this has to be a rectangle because it has 2 long sides and 2 short sides. That's not the definition I have to use. It's complete definition. So let's put this as answer to question. C and E are rectangles because they both have 2 sets of parallel lines and they have 4 right angles. This makes them rectangles. And done. So it is a complete explanation, and I explained, not only did I say which 2 were the right answer, C and E, but I also gave you reasons why, so I will get both points. So this one, it's whatever you're writing on your paper to help with your reasoning, that's fine, but you have to make sure you are typing a complete response. Now, I also want to show you just some kid work so you can take a minute to see. So like this kid, he would just type that answer, C and E, because C and E have 4 right angles and they have 2 pairs of parallel lines, and you can see he has full credit. He gets 2 out of 2. And so there's this next kid, 2 out of 2, and he also writes down, this one typed CE. I know this because rectangles have 4 sides, 4 right angles, 2 pairs of parallel sides, and 2 pairs of equal sides. So this one, it still works because he mentioned the 4 right angles and the 2 pairs of parallel sides. And notice it's okay if you can misspell it, if someone can understand. Like I read this and I knew he meant pairs. So that's okay if you have to do some inventive spelling. All right, let's see if the next one is also a 2-pointer. Yep, perfect 2 pointers. C and E because it has 4 right angles. So they gave it complete credit because, again, they chose C and E, both of them are there, and they gave a reason why. Even though I gave 2 reasons, at least they gave 1 reason. So he gets full credit for this person. Now this kid only gets 1 credit. Let's see if you know why. E is a rectangle. So they're telling you quadrilateral E is a rectangle, and I know this because rectangles have 4 right angles. So his reason is right, but because he didn't also pick C, he lost a point. All right, so let's hit pause so you can check your work and practice typing this down in your equation editor. Here's another one where we're gonna have to explain our work. It's a 2-point question, but watch how I can use my scrap paper to kind of get my ideas down, and then what I type into the box to explain my answer. All right, a student draws 2 rectangles shown below. The student thinks the 2 rectangles have the same area but different perimeters. Is the student correct? Be sure to include the area and perimeter of both figures in your answer. So I have to do that. So I have to answer 1, is the student correct? And 2, what is the area and perimeter of both figures? Okay, so I'm going to look at figure A first. And for figure A, I'm going to do the area is equal to length times width. So area is equal to 8 times 5, and that's 40. And we'll put 40 units. That's the area. And for my perimeter, I know I need to add all the sides up together. So I have to do, I'm gonna do length plus width plus width. So length plus width plus length plus width. Or you could, some kids might have it written down as 2 times length plus width. Both of them work because I'm still adding 2 lengths and 2 widths together. So you get to decide which one you want to use. So no preference. I'm going to do both of them just so you can see it's the same answer. So I could do 8 plus 5. Oops, I said 5 and I wrote 8. 8 plus 5 plus 8 plus 5. And 8 plus 5 is 13, and I know this is 13, and 13 plus 13 is 26. Or I could have done the same thing I said before. Perimeter is equal to 2 times 8 plus 5, and 2 times 13 is 26. Okay, so that's the first one, and I'll do the same thing with B. So I have to use my scrap paper for this. So area is equal to length times width, This one, area is equal to 10 times 4. So again, it is 40 units. So these are the same. And my perimeter is equal to 10 plus 4 plus 10 plus 4. So 10 plus 4 is 14. 14 plus 14 is 28. So my perimeters are different. Here I get 28, and here I get 26. So the first question is the student correct? Yes. Student is correct. The areas for both is 40 units. And the perimeter, and I'm pretending these are my notes, for A is equal to 26 and B is 28. Okay, so I have all my reasoning down. So what do I have to put into my part here? Remember, I'm only explaining. So I'm going to start by answering the question, is the student correct? Yes, the student is correct. The areas for both rectangles are the same. 40 square units, because I forgot it's area, so I have to put square units. The perimeters for both rectangles are different. For rectangle A, the perimeter is 26 units. And for rectangle B, the perimeter is 28 units. All right, and that's it. So I just wrote down 4 sentences. So I wrote a really nice paragraph, but I did everything they asked. I said if the student was correct, and then I included the area and perimeters for both figures. So all this has to be in there. Now, if you wanted to show your work, how could you do that? Well, I would have put rectangle A, and I would have put area is equal to 8 times 5, or 40 square units. And notice I'm not copying everything down because that's a lot. And then I can put perimeter. Perimeter is equal to 8 plus 5 plus 8 plus 5, or 26 units. And then for rectangle B, I will do the same thing. Rectangle B, area is equal to 10 times 4. That's all I have to show, or 40 square units. Perimeter is equal to 10 plus 4 plus 10 plus 4, for 28 units. And that's it. If I was going to show my work, this is all I would have to do to show that I can find the area and perimeter for both figures. So I'm going to hit pause here so you can just stop and practice putting this in, practice check your work, and see what it feels like to type all this down. And again, the most important things I copied down were that the area, the 8 times 5 is 40 square units. So I copied that, and I copied that perimeter is this, and when it adds up together I get 26. So I'm not copying everything, but I am copying the important parts, just so you know where I got my numbers from. All right, hit pause and jot this one down into your work. Okay, we have another 2-point question here. We're going to show our work. What fraction can be added so that the total value is equal to 1? So I have 2 12s plus 7 12s plus something is going to give me 1. Another way I can think of the number 1 that's probably going to help me is 12 out of 12. Now, why did I choose 12? Because all my denominators that way can be the same, 12. And that helps me because that means that this denominator is also going to be something over 12. Okay, now different ways you can solve this. You could just start by adding these two together. I'm going to do that. So I get 9 twelfths plus something over 12 gives me 12 over 12. And I can figure that out. It has to be 3 twelfths. I'm actually going to put an X here for a number I don't know. So X has to be that 3. Actually, I'm going to put it in like this. I'll keep the question mark. So this has to be 3 twelfths. This is the only number that makes it true. Okay, so in my answer box, I need to put 3 over 12. So let's do that first. And I'm going to choose that button here. 3 twelfths. But I want to write this as a full sentence. What fraction can be added to the expression? 3 twelfths can be added to the expression. And I'm going to write it in there. 2 twelfths plus 7 twelfths to make 1 full. I'm going to hit these 3 little lines to make it full. Or I'm going to put 12 over 12. There we go. 12 over 12. So what work do I need to copy over? I'm going to copy this part. And then I'm going to copy this. So I'm going to put a question mark in here and watch what that looks like. And what else can I put in here? I can write all 3 of these sentences in there. Okay, so I'm going to just do that. Tap the little thing. Tap 2 twelfths plus 7 twelfths plus. I'm going to do the same thing again. I'm going to put a question mark here on the top. Is equal to 12 over 12. So that's my first sentence. I just skip to the next one and I just write the second one. 9 twelfths plus question mark 12 is equal to, what's wrong one? I didn't mean to write that one, to tap it, 12 over 12. And let's tap behind it. Kind of not easy to tap. There we go. And then I'm going to put my last part. Tap in there. Question mark 12 is equal to 3 twelfths. Because 3 plus 9 is equal to 12 when I add the numerators. And that's it. And that's how I show my work. And notice how I just had to think for a minute. What can I make it that blank over 12? And I just used a question mark. So I had it, and I'm giving you a reason why. But now you can see where all my numbers are. And I would absolutely tell you to practice the same way I did, tapping those numbers and learning how do I type in fractions and mixed numbers using this platform. Take some practice so that on the first time you do it isn't during the state test. So let's look at what some other kids did to get their full answers. And you can see for here, it's the same type of work where they added up the 2. Let's make this actually a little bigger. This is teeny tiny. So here a kid just did the same thing. 2 plus 7 twelfths is 9 twelfths. And then 9 twelfths plus 3 twelfths is 12 twelfths. Or they did the same part we did, which is to just figure out this answer. Okay? Now I like that they would also take 1/4 as an answer if you had an equivalent. If you want to simplify 3 twelfths, you could also do that. So look at what some kids would have written down. It looks just like ours, like the one I modeled, where they're adding the two pieces and then they're trying to figure out 9 plus some number makes 1, and at that some number, that question mark is equal to 3. So that works. Here's what another kid typed in, and notice the kid just knew that he already did this part in his head, or he had it on his paper but didn't recopy it down here. But me as a teacher, I know that he did 2 plus 7 to get 9 twelfths, and then he kept adding until he got to 12 twelfths. So he's showing that in there, and even this is enough to show how he got that answer, 3 twelfths. So that works. That's typed in. So again, I bet there's more on that kid's paper, but he made sure to get the important numbers in. Here's another answer that was typed in, where he has our two numbers and he just puts in the answer is equal to 1 for 12 twelfths. And that was also full credit, and he also puts it into the answer box. So just noticing, it's just what do we need to copy down to make sure we have the full answer. And even this is enough. I just like to show the whole process. I think the next one is going to be a 1-point answer. Yeah, a 1-point answer. Because the kid adds 2 of them together to get 9 twelfths, but he doesn't find out the next part to get 12 twelfths. But again, he's just typing in what he did on paper. Alright, so we're going to hit pause so you can practice doing this on the equation editor, and then we'll get to the next one. She played the same game 2 times. She scored 36 points in the second game. Which is 4 times as many as the first game. How many points did she score the first game? Okay, so she had 36 points. Let's actually do it in pencil. And she said the 36 is 4 times some number from the first game. So what does that number have to be? So I can just think of different ways. This is more mental math. I could do, well, I know 4 times 9 equals 36. And I can put that. Or I could rewrite it 36 and use my fact families. 36 divided by 4 is 9. So I could use either one of those. And so let me start explaining. So explain how you know the answer. How many points did Stacy score in the first game? Let's restate that. Stacy scored 9 points in the first game. 9 times 4 is equal to 36. We know she scored 4 times as many points as the first game. Wait, this is sounding a little strange. Let's see if we can fix this a little bit. Now it's sounding wordy. She scored 9 points in the first game. She scored 36 in the second game. And 36 is 4 times what she scored in the first game. 9 times 4, only 9 times 4 is equal to 36. So that's it. That's all I have to do to explain here. So let's look at some other kid answers, but you can see I have my answer. She scored 9 points. How do I know? She scored 36 in the second game, and 36 is 4 times what she scored in the first game. Only 9 times 4 is equal to 36. So here's some other kid answers. So this is the exemplar. Stacy scored 9 points in the first game because 36 divided by 4 is 9. Or Stacy scored 9 points in the first game because 4 times 9 is 36. Or as long as some other valid reasons. So this works. So let's look at what the kids put down here and how would we show this. So Stacy scored 9 points in the first game. Good. First, I drew a model that I had to find a number that will get 4 to 36. So, ooh, nice model. So she was trying to draw it out, and it says she scored 9 points in the first game. So she has her little numbers n, and she know it had to be n plus n plus n plus n, and the only way that can happen is if she had 9. So 9 and 9 plus 9 plus 9 plus 9 is equal to 36. So this answer is fine. She would just have to somehow show her model in the show your work, and so she'd probably have to hit this little button. And she'd have to kind of draw it there. If that was part of her answer, I'd want to see the model. Here's another kid who typed 36 divided by 4 is 9, and then they wrote their 4 times tables. So they skip counted until they got to 36, and they counted how many 4s that was, and it was 9. I know that the answer is correct because I skip counted from 4 all the way to 36, and I counted how many times 4 skip counts all the way to 36, and I got 9. So 36 divided by 4 is 9. Complete answer. So that shows what they did. I can see it in their explanation, so that makes sense. Full credit. Here's another one I got full credit, but look, all they did was write 36 divided by 4 is 9. So it's enough to show how they got the answer. I personally, if this person was in my class, I'd want that first sentence. Stacy scored 9 points. Here's a kid who only gets 1 point. I know my answer is correct because I multiplied 4 and 36. So that's not true. They did 4 times 36. So that's a mistake. And the answer is 144. So they multiplied the wrong things. So you can see where they made that mistake. Let's see if there's another mistake. Stacy played the same game, and you can see the kid did 4 divided by 36 equals 9. They just wrote it wrong. So unfortunately, they lose a point because they really meant 36 divided by 4 is equal to 9. But at least they got 1 point because they had the fact numbers, the fact family, but that is an incorrect statement. All right, so we're gonna hit pause so you can jot this one down, and we'll get ready to the next one. Now we're gonna get a little spicy for number 43. Ms. Leonard has $110 to buy bottles at the craft paint store. The bottles, each bottle is $9. What is the greatest number of bottles she can buy with the amount of money she has? All right, so we're gonna share, like we're thinking $110, and I'm buying a whole bunch of bottles that are $9. I'm repeatedly subtracting, so that's division is equal to some number. So I'm gonna set up my long division. And if you have trouble with this, I like to put dead monkeys smell bad. This is my way of just remembering the steps for division. So this is to divide, multiply, subtract, and bring it down. All right, so divide 1 divided by 9. I can't do that, so I'm going to put a 0. So every number in here, if I have 3 numbers here, I need 3 numbers on top. Okay, it has to have like a little hat, so I have to put that 0. All right, 11 divided by 9. Well, 9 goes into 11 one time, so that's divide. Multiply, 1 times 9 is 9. Subtract, and bring down to 0. And now I divide from here. 20 divided by 9. How many 9s go into 20? 9, 18, 27 is too high, so 2. 2 times 9 is 18. Subtract, 2. And I don't have anything else to bring down, so I have 12 remainder 2. So I can buy 12 bottles, and I still have some money left over. So I have I only have $2, but I need $9 to make another bottle. So I can have 12 bottles. Okay, so let's start by answering the question. What's the greatest number of bottles of craft paint Miss Leonard can buy? Miss Leonard can buy 12 bottles. That's the greatest number she can buy with $110. Done. All right, so now how am I going to show my work? This is where it gets a little spicy, so I'm going to put 110, and I'm going to use my division sign, divided by 9 is equal to a question mark. Okay? And now I'm going to, because I use long division, I'm going to tap this button to show my long division. eraser. And now I'm just copying what I did in my work. On the paper. And I can bring this down, that's okay. And now I can put, so if you need more space, you can hit those 3 little lines to drag it. And I can put add drawing and drag it down. So now I can see my work. 110 divided by 9 is equal to, and I can put my answer, 12 remainder 2. All right, so that's it. And that's all I had to do to show how I got 12 bottles. And I have a remainder 2. So let's look at some kid answers. So you can see the different ways you can solve it. So you had to write 12 bottles on the answer box. And you either had to put any of these answers, like, so you can see this kid did the division like we did and got 12 remainder 2. This kid did 12 times 9 is 108 and 12 times 13 is 117. So that's the work they used to figure out it had to be 12 bottles. He didn't have enough for 13. Or you could have skip counted by 9s. And you can see he underlined 108 to show like that's all he can spend because he doesn't have enough for this one. So let's look at what some other kids did. This kid just, same thing, they showed their long division and then checked their work. That's fine. This kid went from 110 and just kept subtracting again and again and again and again. And just, let's see if he counted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So he did it 12 times. So I get where it came from. I can see it. I would have liked to have seen that a little bit more clearly so that I can see that he did it 12 bottles. But he has the answer here. Ooh, that means this kid would have had to put all of this in the equation, in the show your work, which is a lot to write. This kid just did the number sentence, just like we had, and that was enough work. All right, this kid has to write answer, but look up here, 110 divided by 9 isn't 12, there's a remainder. So he lost a point because he didn't have remainder 2 in his work. So please, if you have a remainder, make sure you're copying it in there. It's good to know. And here's another kid who wrote 12 remainder 2. You can't have 12 remainder 2 bottles, but you can see how he kept doing it until he got 12 bottles. So just adding that, the question asks how many bottles can he get, and it's just 12 bottles. All right, so hit pause so you can check this in your work and practice trying to do a division problem in the box. Practice so you can see what it's like to draw it out. If you have a stylus, it's a little easier, but if you don't, you're gonna have to draw it with the touchpad. Okay, we're up to the last one. This is a 3-pointer, 3 points. So it's gonna be spicy. Mr. Benson is making burgers based on the information below. He has 4 pounds of meat. He uses 1/4 pound for each burger, and he makes 9 burgers. How many pounds of meat does he have left after? So what does he have left after he makes all the burgers? So I can see 2 ways that we can solve this. So one way is I can go, I know that he makes 9 burgers and each burger is 1/4, so I can multiply this. And this is how much meat he uses for the burgers. But I know he has 4 pounds of meat. All right, so how do I'm gonna do 4 pounds minus 9/4. I can't subtract these because they have different denominators. So I'm gonna need to make the 4/1 into, I'm gonna change it so that it has a 4 on the bottom. And the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to go, well, 1 times 4 is 4, so 4 times 4 is 16. And now I can subtract 16 minus 9 is 7/4. It is an improper fraction, so you can change it to a mixed number, 1 3/4. Both of those will work. Okay, so that's one way, is to figure out, well, how many burgers did he make, and then subtract. Here's another way that I can see doing it. So I have 4 pounds of meat. Actually, let me draw this right. So I have 4 pounds of meat, and I'm breaking them up into fourths. Okay, so I can see 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is 4 over 4 plus 4 over 4 plus 4 over 4 plus 4 over 4. And this is 16 over 4. And I know he makes 9 burgers. So each of these are all the burgers he can make. He makes 9 of them. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So how much does he have left? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So when I subtract 9 fourths, I got 7 fourths. And I can see right here that I have 1 whole, and here I have 3 fourths left. Either one of those will work. So I'm going to start by putting how many burgers of meat does he have left, and explain how I determine my answer. Mr. Benson has, we'll use this one, 1 3/4 pounds of meat left. He had 4 pounds, or 16 fourths pounds of meat. He used, oops, I tapped down here, 9 fourths to make burgers. So he had, I keep tapping it up here by accident, 7 fourths left, or 1 3/4. So there's my explanation, but now I have to figure out how I'm going to show my work. How would I show it? So for the first one, this is pretty easy, where I can just type this and then type, this is my second sentence, my third sentence, and my fourth sentence. So I could do that. This one is a lot easier to type. Okay, so I would just have to do 9 times 1/4 is equal to 9 fourths. So I can do that. It kind of like, now I'm looking at the 9, I know that I have to put this over, I'm gonna make this 9 a whole 1. Okay, and then I would just go to my next line, and I would just do 4 over 1 minus 9 fourths, or, because I want to show what I changed it to, 16 over 4 minus 9 fourths is equal to 7 fourths. And then I can go to the next line and just put 7 fourths is equal to, oh, that was funky. Look what happened. I didn't mean for that to happen. 7 fourths is equal to, tap away, 1 3/4. So this could be the first thing you put in if I was doing the one on the left. So nice and easy. Now if I was doing the one on the right, I'm going to need to do a drawing. So I would hit my little drawing box, let's make it bigger, and I would draw my 4 pounds, and I'm just drawing with my finger, and I'm changing it into fourths, and then I will put 4 over 4 plus 4 over 4 plus 4 over 4 plus 4 over 4 is equal to 16 fourths. And then I would just show 7, 8, 9. And that's how I can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I would just move this a little bit. And now I can show my subtraction. 16 over 4 minus 9 over 4 is equal to 7 over 4. Or 1 and 3/4. And add the drawing. So there you go. So those are 2 ways that I can actually show my work for this problem. So I have a full answer, and I could either write all the sentences, all the math out, or I can try drawing it. You get to choose which one, but again, I'm gonna say practice doing this on the equation editor. So you get to decide which is the easier way for you. And you don't wanna do it when you're super nervous taking a test. So practice first so you get comfortable and you feel super confident and you know what works best for you. And then when you take the test, use what strategy you know you can work best to show your complete answer. Well, that's it for today, 4th graders. I will see you in the next video. If you have more questions, just put them in the chat. If there's a topic you want me to cover to help you study for the test, I am always happy to do so. So that's all for today. I'll see you in the next one. Like and subscribe. Be well. Bye.